Liverpool Football Club, calm down. We have just won the Club World Cup. Our players are barely off the plane. I have just walked to the mega store and collected my garms, my cloth, put the golden badge on my chest next to my crest, and you lot want to steal the headlines online today, of all days? No. You see, I said before this window opened, it's not just about the deals we do, it's about the deals others do too, because they are our competitors. That is our competition. And my Alexander Isak, for potentially the small crumbs, the small change of upwards of 50 million. I don't know where you're getting that from. I don't know where that link, communication, conversation, I don't know where that is starting. And I don't know when it will end. But I'm here to put a stop to that right now. That cannot go through. That cannot happen. Because that is the leading marksman in this league outside of Hairline. That is the guy that changes the landscape of this race for the Premier League title. That is the guy that is a needle mover. Dare I say it. We are quite happy over here on these sides. New acquisitions, new additions. Looking forward to Esteval soon. João Pedro's banging them in. Optimism. But this is the competition. Liverpool are the reigning, defending champions of the England. And they're the favourites outrightly and rightly so. Because they have done very good and great additions already in this window. But Alexander Isak is taking the flat piss. Alexander Isak is unnecessary. Alexander Isak, please find it in your heart to stay a Geordie. There's so many layers and levels to this deal that we're going to get into when it comes to this potential transaction going through. It seems like Liverpool are courting Ekitke and Isak together. Now, Ekitke is a player that I like, and I've said that numerous times. I see that as the potential upgrade for Nicholas Jackson. However, can we offer him that starting 11 game time on a consistent, continuous basis when João Pedro is banging in the goals as he is? He seems like the solution. He seems like the gift from the gods. But that means Liverpool Football Club have got one of the most incredible, interesting negotiation tactics going on as I speak. Because Ekitke is the perfect replacement for who? Alexander Isak. I've said it stylistically. The profile is very similar. The ability to carry the ball, the ability to dribble, the ability to drop deep, the ability to run beyond, the ability to be a goal scorer. With the volumes of shots that he takes, he could just be that guy that becomes the next Isak. He could be unearthed. He could become unhinged. So Liverpool Football Club have said, we want both. If you don't give us one, we'll get your replacement. And I am very interested to see just how long they'll wait for Newcastle to fold. Newcastle have got Alexander Isak on a contract that expires in 2028. 3 years left on the deal. They need to find out quite fast if Alexander Isak has any interest in negotiating and extending said deal. Now, I don't see why he would if you are not aiming, and I think you would like to be, but, you know, financially and the stadium expansion and the global status and the revenue incoming means that you are having to patiently take your time with that money from Saudi to become Premier League title contenders. And how long is Isak going to wait for you to become one of the best teams in the country, which Liverpool are already? Liverpool are already one of the best teams in the country. So Alexander Isak has a very important decision to make. Just how much will he push for this deal? That's my hope that he won't, because he is, I think, in love with what Newcastle means and what they have done for him and the difference that they've made for his career from Real Sociedad and bringing him into the Premier League and taking such a big, not gamble. I mean, it was a gamble at the time. It was a lot of money for Newcastle to spend that amount of money. Yes, the money came in, but it's still a lot of money to spend. And yes, they're potentially going to double that, but that's why maybe he'll be gracious and he'll be having a bit of decorum and, you know, with Newcastle, and he won't put in a transfer request, or he won't kick his feet up. But Newcastle have the opportunity to replace Isak with Ekitke if they can negotiate with Frankfurt, who are charging and asking for quite a lot of money. And if they don't move forward, and they are negotiating with Frankfurt, it seems, and they are pushing for it. If they don't get that deal done, will they regret it if Liverpool get Ekitke this summer and potentially still pursue Isak next summer when he's only got 2 years left? So Newcastle have got a move to make. There was reports that Ekitke and Newcastle were talking anyway before this, and we all potentially was looking at a front two of Isak and Ekitke at Newcastle in a 4-4-2. Sacrifice a midfielder and just go old-fashioned Premier League 4-4-2. The days of Tevez and Aguero, or Van Persie and Rooney, Drogba and Anelka, etc., etc. But that is a lot to ask of Newcastle, to sacrifice a Joe Linton, to sacrifice a Tonali, to sacrifice a midfielder in that 4-3-3 and go 4-2-4-4-2. So it does make sense that Newcastle could be open to selling Isak for a massive amount of money. And Liverpool have a massive amount of money sitting in a pot somewhere. And this is not even the end of it. Because I don't need to get into what Isak can do for Liverpool. That is self-explanatory. That doesn't need explaining. You know that Isak is a top striker. You know that Isak is a well-rounded, complete forward. You know that Isak can operate in the wide areas. You know that Isak can score from range as well from close distance. You know that Isak has even got a couple of headers to his name from a couple of Jacob Murphy crosses. You know that Isak is that guy. He's now stayed fit for quite some time. He's not seemingly injury prone anymore. It's a striker that every single team in this league outside of Man City with Hairline would want, need, and take. So there is no need to wax lyrical about him. There is no need to even tell Liverpool fans what they already know. But are you moving for Rodrygo? Because I would like Rodrygo. Are you looking to do a deal with Bayern Munich, who are also apparently interested in Rodrygo now as well, as much as they were interested in all left wingers on this earth, in the likes of Martinelli, in the likes of Leao, in the likes of Williams, in the likes of Eze, Barcola. They've been linked with every left winger in the world, and now they seem to be linked with Rodrygo. But will they do a deal, Liverpool, with Bayern for Diaz so they can take Bayern Munich off the list to get Rodrygo, and then also go for Rodrygo at Real Madrid as well, who seemingly is not in the plans of Xabi Alonso, hence why he didn't even come off the bench in their final Club World Cup game and was left sitting there whilst Vasquez, Carvajal and Diaz got minutes before him. Now, for me, this is something that would rattle my cages as a Chelsea fan. I don't expect us to get Isak. Has my camera died? I don't expect to get Isak. Because I knew that was a lot of money and we needed to buy multiple players in multiple positions to not only improve the overall quality of our squad across the team in many positions, but also we're not the Premier League reigning winners, so we are not necessarily front of the queue for such a player. And we have João Pedro, and I must say, João Pedro is moving me greatly. João Pedro is looking very complete and very well-rounded. João Pedro, if he can score a bullet header in the next, 30 days or so, Premier League's kicking off soon, sunshine, I will be ecstatic. So, yes, Isak would have been incredible here, and I'm sure other fan bases are thinking the same, but it was not really necessarily on the cards. But Rodrygo is something that I have been courting. I have been learning languages to tell you how much I want Rodrygo. And now I don't want to beg, because Chelsea are in a position as world champions where we don't need to beg. And we are in a position of world champions where we should be also asking you to make it very clear to Real Madrid that you would like to leave and be the main man somewhere else, to be the guy that is relied upon and not just a squad player, not just a side man, not just a man that gets ignored on the bench and left to the wayside to do graphic design, thumbnails on twitter.com, putting out white hearts. If that's the career that you chose, if that's the career that you're after, then so be it. I don't want to beg. But these are the type of players that change Premier League predictions. These are the type of players that move teams up the table and points tallies go through the roof. If Liverpool get Rodrygo on that left wing with Wirtz in the 10, Salah on the right and Isak up front, I don't care who you support. You cannot base your season, base your board, base your manager purely and solely whether they win the Premier League or not. You better start contemplating other competitions as well to make up the numbers. You know, Carabao. Like I said, I'm not over anything. I'm not too big for any tournament, any trophy. I would like to win at Wembley, FA Cup, Champions League. Liverpool will be the outright favourites if they bag those 2 players on top of what they've already brought in. And that is the be-all and end-all. We can hope, we can push our teams, we can pray, we can cheer, we can shout. But at the end of the day, you heard what I said. If that front line contains Rodrygo, Isak, Salah and Florian Wirtz, with McAllister, Gravenberch, and the road runner that is Szoboszlai to cover the ground for Frimpong with Kirkes, potentially Mark Gurley with Van Dijk if Konate is to go and Alisson, God have mercy on us all. Rodrygo, I'm gonna say this gently and politely. We have plenty of Brazilians here for you to integrate with. They speak your language on and off the pitch. There's more restaurants in London than there is in Liverpool for your palate, for your taste buds. João Pedro, Esteval, and Andre Santos will welcome you here greatly. Like I said, I'm not here to beg. I'm above it. But I'm just reminding you of what you could join, what you could be a part of in London City Town. So, guys, this is a warning to the Premier League. Find a way to not let this happen. If Liverpool have to get Ekitke, then so be it. If Liverpool have to go and get a different option at left wing, then so be it. Pull whatever strings you got to pull. Move whatever needles you got to move. Do whatever deals you got to do in the background. Talk to whoever you got to talk to. This cannot happen. It cannot happen. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next time in a bit, people. Peace.